What is going on, guys? Snickel here, and today I have another trophy talk for you. This is going to be for the week of February 14th, 2021, and it has been quite a successful week coming to games and everything and just working through stuff. So I've made a lot of good progress and stuff. But anyway, with all of that being said, we can get right into this video. Actually, before we get in, I do want to make a few notes about a few things. That just being some shameless plugs. If you guys want to follow me on Twitter, Twitch, or anything, all of those links will be in the description below. I am also going to note here and on all future videos until otherwise something happens. I am working with a company called Rep Sports. They make a pre and post workout supplements. They make energy drinks and energy supplements. So I will leave a link to their website below. You can use coupon code Snickel on checkout, and that'll get you 15% off. They have all types of stuff. They have great energy drinks and things of that sort with zero sugar. So if you're looking for some stuff to kind of get you through some gaming, go check out that stuff over there. And again, use coupon code Snickel on checkout to get 15% off. So anyway, with all that being said, let's get right into this video. So like I said, it's been a pretty successful week when it comes to gaming. I've made a lot of progress on things, and some random things came up, and I've started some other things. And there's a lot of things happening right now. So starting off, we have Star Wars Jedi Knight Jedi Academy. I did end up finishing this up, so platinuming, 100%ing it and everything. And what I have to say about the game after finishing it, and this is something that I want to do in these trophy talks moving forward, is kind of giving a little bit more of my perspective of the game as well, I guess when I finish it, and I guess as I'm going through, rather than just saying, well, this is what I've done. So I ended up, again, finishing platinum and 100% the game. There's no DLC or anything. And I got to say, after playing Jedi Knight Jedi Academy and also playing Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast, these are some phenomenal games. If you guys haven't played them, like, I can't suggest to play these any more than, like, any other game. Like, they're phenomenal. The lightsaber combat is amazing. And if you're a fan of Star Wars games, you're doing yourself an injustice by just not playing these. Now, you do have to beat the hardest difficulty in this one. Now, in Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast, you do have to beat the hardest difficulty, but there is a kind of like, I don't want to say a cheese, but you can use like cheat codes to get to the final level. So you only have to do the final boss on the hardest difficulty, and you can actually beat him with cheat codes as well. So it's not really like a true, you don't really have to play that game on the hardest difficulty. You can kind of cheat your way there or cheese your way there. This game, you do have to beat the game on the Jedi Master difficulty. So when I was playing through and doing that, I was a little bit worried, but as I played through and got used to the game and got used to the Force abilities that I should really be using, it became easier and easier, and it was actually really enjoyable to go through, and the hardest difficulty really wasn't even that bad. There's a few Force abilities that you really want to focus on as you're playing through the game, that being Force Heal, Force Absorption, Force Protection, and Force Lightning. Those 4 Force abilities are the ones that you should be mastering as you kind of play through the game. So you can play through that way if you want to. You can play through other ways. There are some missable trophies per se, because there really isn't a chapter select in the game. So if you do miss some things, you are going to have to kind of go back through and clean those up. You can't use any sort of like cheat for chapter select or anything, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. So you do have to pay attention to those as you're kind of playing through the game. I do have those in a playlist, and they're in chronological order. So as long as you're kind of watching them, you should be able to get them all done. The other thing that does suck about this game as well, not only with the hardest difficulty and the no chapter select, so if you miss trophies, that kind of sucks. There is online as well, which can prove to be pretty annoying unless you have 3 people to play with total. So if you have a few buddies that have the game, hop on and get some of those trophies done. Really easy things like at last we will reveal ourselves, which is to win a multiplayer match equipped with a double-bladed lightsaber. And then a few at the bottom here, getting first place in the match, winning a 1v2 power duel, which is like the biggest or the hardest trophy, I guess you could say. when it comes to the online, and then winning a match without using force powers. I think those are the 4 trophies that are related to the online. But all in all, I had a lot of fun playing the game. It was a blast to play through, and I have both of the 2 Jedi Knight games that are on the PlayStation 4 at the moment done. Hopefully they'll move some more over, but we'll just have to wait and see. But I am moving and grooving through this Star Wars franchise. So an update on the Star Wars franchise is doing pretty good. The upcoming Star Wars games to keep an eye out for are going to be really all of them, but it's probably going to be Jedi Fallen Order next, Episode 1 Racers after that, along with probably Squadrons, because they're both, Episode 1 Racers pretty easy. I can probably do that in like a night, so there's no reason to really, just do that game. And then, Clone Wars, Republic Heroes at some point. And then, we'll figure it out. But, all of these will be getting done except, obviously at the moment, Super Star Wars and Star Wars Pinball, those both can, kiss my ass. But, yeah, we're moving and grooving through the Star Wars franchise. Had a lot of fun playing and platinuming Jedi Knight Jedi Academy. Then up next, I have a game that I kind of threw in out of nowhere. So this has been on the list, and I really wanted to play a racing game. I was looking at getting in and doing Dirt Rally 2.0 and then eventually doing Dirt 5 just because I only have a few more dirt games to get them all done. But I remembered that I had this game on my list, and it's a fun little game to play. Now, I'm going to say little because there really isn't a lot to the game. There's not a lot of content to the game. There are a few championships that you are going to have to play through, that being the Junior, Amateur, Challengers, Pro Internationals, and the Masters. So there's like, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 championships you have to play through. But really, they don't take that long at all. You can get through all of these championships in maybe 5 to 10 hours. It's really nothing too difficult. The last few championships can take a little bit of time because you are going to have to do longer races. So that does suck. Well, it doesn't suck, but it just takes a little bit longer than you're going to be going through with the first few championships. But all in all, it's really not that bad. By the time that I finished all the championships up and kind of did all the other random trophies in the game, I was sitting around level like 38 or so. So I did have to grind a little bit to the level 50. There's kind of an easy way to get there, which only takes like 30 to 40 minutes, maybe upwards of an hour if you're going kind of slow. But it was an enjoyable game. I had a lot of fun playing through the game. The reason I haven't platinumed it yet is because I will be doing it on stream. We'll be going for Maniac Driver for the last trophy, which is to wreck 50 opponents with school bus. I don't know why they didn't say with the school bus, but yeah, I had a lot of fun playing this game. Nice little racing game to just add in there. And I like adding these little games here and there that really aren't part of like a franchise. And they kind of just are like a little fun thing to play. So I don't know if you guys have ever played the game Flat Out. Now, I'm not talking Flat Out 4, the one that's on the PlayStation 4. I'm talking like the original Flat Outs, like Flat Out 1, 2, and 3. Are mainly the ones that I'm talking about because those came before Flat Out 4. But this game gave me a little bit of a Flat Out vibe, but like a realistic Flat Out vibe, if that makes sense. It's basically a demolition derby game. There's a lot of destruction that goes on, but you can set the game up so that the cars take a lot of damage, but nothing like mechanically happens to the car. Or you can set them up where you can, completely destroy your car inside and out. So it's really cool, the functionalities that you're given. And these functionalities don't really change any of the trophies. It definitely makes some of the trophies easier at the end of the day, but it doesn't really make anything harder, which is, it can be good if you are looking for just a little trophy list to go through and you're not like a super fan of racing games. And I don't know if I mentioned this before, but this game is fun. Even if you aren't a fan of like racing games, you're not good at racing games, this is a really fun game. Now, I will say that the game is more on the simulation side when it comes to controlling than the arcade side. There's games like I consider Need for Speed games to be really arcadey. So if you're really used to those games where you just floor it and drift around corners and you just tap the brakes and you go, that's really not going to be here. It is more on the simulation side when it comes to the handling, but we're not talking like a Gran Turismo simulation or Dirt Rally simulation. You're kind of on the in-between, but you're more leaning towards the simulation than the arcade. So I think it's a good mix. If you're looking to getting into sim racing, or you're looking to getting in kind of into something that's more realistic compared to any like arcade racer that you're playing, I would say that this is a great place to start. I've heard people say that it takes them a little bit of time to kind of get used to the handling of the cars and everything, but that just comes to, if you're not used to sim racing, you have to actually get used to kind of how the cars are going to handle. Because with arcade racing, there really isn't any of that. I don't want to say control. There's a different type of skill required to this, where it's more meticulous to inputs that you put in and stuff like that. Now, one of the things that really irritates me about the game is that the opponents will wreck you. Now, I get what you're saying. I know what you're saying. Snickel, come on now, man. It's a demolition derby game. Of course they're going to try to wreck you. No, I mean, I think it's irritating because they don't wreck you in a smart way. They kind of just will sabotage themselves to take you out, which is really irritating. It makes more sense if they try to sabotage you to kind of progress themselves farther in the race, but they will literally sabotage you and take themselves out while they're doing it. They do not care one bit about their positioning for the race. So I think that can get a little bit annoying, but it doesn't really happen too often. And I think all of the other crazy shit that goes on as you're playing the game really will outweigh all of that annoying stuff that happens with the AI, just kind of, dive bombing you into corners or spinning you out and just plowing themselves into a tree, which it's fantastic when they do it. And then you're able to get a little bit of revenge on them later on, or even right then and there. That's a lot of fun. But if you are looking for a cool little racing game that has a lot of demolition derby style aspects to it, you have your racing, you have your demolition derby, you have your crazy vehicles, you have, I would say, a semi-realistic damage model. I think it can be a little amplified, the damage model, but that doesn't make it feel unrealistic. I would definitely suggest to play Wreckfest. I really enjoyed it. There is an online trophy. You are going to need at least 2 people to get through. It's just to win 20 events in multiplayer. I think it takes you maybe 10 minutes to get that done, because you can do it on a track that takes 10 seconds to race, and you can just set it to 1 lap. But yeah, if you're just looking for a little racing game that isn't really part of a franchise and you want to mix your list up, you don't have racing games on there, I would highly suggest Wreckfest. It's a bunch of fun. Then up next, we have a game. This kind of came out of the blue, but like not really. So RE6. So as you guys know, I've said on previous trophy talks that I do intend on doing all of the RE games at some point. Every stack, I'm going to do exactly what I'm going to do with Assassin's Creed, with any franchise that I'm playing right now, where I'm doing it in the franchise rotation. I will be doing the stacks. Now, I don't know if I've said this on video or on one of these trophy talks, but with the franchise rotation, I will be doing every single stack of the game. So when it comes to Star Wars, I will be doing the stack of Jedi Fallen Order. Now, I will, and there is areas where I will pull out. Like in Star Wars, Super Star Wars is on the edge. Star Wars Pinball has nothing to do with Star Wars. I don't even know why the fuck it's in the series list, but that's going to be pulled out. When it comes to RE though, like I'm going to be doing all of the RE games, even Code Veronica X twice, Umbrella Chronicles and Darkside Chronicles, and of course Umbrella Corps and Resident Evil Resistance. Those will all be done at some point. Now I know what you're saying. Well, why would you do the multiplayer ones? Well, it's just because, why not? If someone was to do the RE franchise and exclude Umbrella Corps and Resistance, I could understand it. It's definitely understandable and acceptable. As thing is in the no stage, I think is fine. Like if it's in the no stage, whatever, fuck it, man. Like you don't have to do it, but I am going to do everything. So getting back to RE6, so I was playing RE6 on the PlayStation 4 because I had a few people that wanted to do it. But I ended up working on today, it was technically yesterday or today and the day before, I was doing the Onslaught DLC with Brian. So we were able to finish Onslaught. So that gets me done the Onslaught DLC, the Survivors DLC, the Predator DLC, and then we started to work on the Siege DLC, but then we kind of put it off. So hopefully planning on going back to the Siege DLC and finishing that up, and then possibly going to RE5 on the PS4 after. Now, if you look at all the games that I have to do, I'm assuming on the PlayStation 4. Did I say on the PlayStation 5? RE5 on the 5? What am I talking about? RE5 on the 4. God, so many numbers. When it comes to RE games that have multiplayer, I'm assuming I'm going to be doing all of those on the PS4 right now. I do intend on doing the PS3 ones, but it's a little harder to find people that want to play on the PS3. So I'm probably going to be focusing on the PS4 ones. So again, the focus right now is to do RE6 on the PS4, RE5 on the PS4, and then probably going to do Revelations and Revelations 2 on the PS4, and then maybe look at doing Umbrella Corps and Resistance after that, and then eventually going back and doing RE5 and 6 on the PS3, along with Revelations and Revelations 2 on the PS3, along with Operation Raccoon City on the PS. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of RE multiplayer to do, but I would like to focus on them and try to get them done. But RE6 is coming along. It's a work in progress. And it kind of, again, came out of the blue, but we're going to try to finish the Siege DLC. I need to work with Brian and Waves and Andrew to get Brian the Survivors and Predators DLC, because we actually did, me, Waves, and Andrew actually did DLC 2 and 3 together, but I recently had brought Brian in to do DLC 1 and then finish up DLC 4. So we need to get him the DLC 2 and 3 done, but it's coming along. It's really not as bad of a game as like people make it out to be. Now, granted, I haven't played the single player. I'm just playing the multiplayer. It really isn't as bad of a game as I thought it would be. Now, I have a bad taste in my mouth from RE5. I played RE5 back in the day. Let me double check. I played my first trophy in RE5 was back in 2012, so 8 years ago. Now, granted, this game did come out in 2009, so I was a little bit behind, but I did play it in 2012. Just because as I was kind of getting into trophy hunting more, I would say I was taking it more seriously, I guess you could say. It's pretty stupid way to say it. As I was playing and diversifying my games that I was playing, I noticed that a lot of people had RE5 on their list, and they had RE5 Platinumed. Now, most of them had it Platinum, but not 100%. So I ended up giving it a try back in 2012, and good Lord, was it a nightmare. But I have some sort of resentment towards RE5. Like, I actually enjoy RE6 more than RE5, if that's if that's hard to believe. But playing through, it's going to be fun. I definitely plan on making multiplayer trophy guides and how to platinums and stuff at some point for all of the RE games, just because I think the franchise, from what I see from the community, the franchise is just, it's such a loving franchise. The people who really like the franchise, they're warming and welcoming, and they really want like everyone to play their games, which is great. I think RE gets a bunch of they just have a bunch of people that play their games, so it's not like people don't know what RE is. I think you could literally go to anybody that's played a game and they've played at least one Resident Evil in their life. But I would say most people probably didn't like 5 or 6. Or Revelations 1 and 2. I haven't played the single player. The only single player for a Resident Evil game, and don't torch me here, don't put me out to dry. The only single player that I've ever played for a Resident Evil game is Resident Evil 6, and I fucking loved it. And with Resident Evil 2 and 3 out, I've really wanted to go and play them, but as you guys know, I love to play things chronologically, and if I'm going to be adding this to the franchise rotation at some point, I'm definitely going to put off playing RE2 and RE3 until I get all the multiplayer done for all the other games. Now, I will probably add RE to the rotation when I get all of the multiplayer done. So that's going to consist of, again, RE5, Revelations, Raccoon City, RE6, Revelations 2, along with finishing up Umbrella Corps and Resistance as well, getting those platinumed. Those will probably be my first platinums into the franchise other than RE7. But it's a work in progress, and it's getting there, and I enjoy playing RE6 multiplayer. Now, I want to rant about this for a second, because I really When it comes to RE5, I think I have this resentment just because the game is so boring. Now, why is the game boring, you ask? I think it's mainly because back in the late 20s, early 2010s, or I should say the late 2000s, not the 20s, the late 2000s to early 2010s, and even mid 2010s, I think a lot of games that did not necessarily need online added online, and it ended up feeling more tedious to play than anything else. And I think that that is exactly what happened with RE5 and RE6. Now, granted, I think that the game modes that RE6 has in them are definitely more enjoyable to play. There's more creativity. RE5 to me is just such a slog to play through for the online, and it gets so boring so quick, where RE6 I really don't have that feeling. But I really don't understand why these games added multiplayer for no reason. Now let me know down in the comments below a few of these examples. The one example that I can think of off the top of my head, but I should have probably put the subject matter out before I actually asked the question. So the subject matter is, let me know down in the comments below a franchise that added multiplayer that you would think it didn't need multiplayer, but when they added it, it was phenomenal. The franchise that I'm thinking of that did this was Uncharted. When you play Uncharted 1, you're like, damn, this is a good game. And then Uncharted 2, when you play single player, you're like, damn, they upped it. And then they even added a multiplayer. And the multiplayer was phenomenal in Uncharted 2. And then Uncharted 3 came out. Not only did they add the multiplayer, they added the co-op to it. The co-op survival. Like, that was a game where I would have never expected that to have such a successful multiplayer and co-op side to it. That's phenomenal. I guess another game that I'm thinking off of the top of my head was actually a newer game that came out, and that would be Ghost of Tsushima, which I'm surprised didn't have a separate list, but the Legends mode in Ghost of Tsushima also kind of blew me away. I'm not going to lie. That Legends mode was phenomenal. Like, Ghost of Tsushima was already amazing when it comes to single player, but then to add the Legends mode on top of it, was it a little bit grindy? Sure, but it was phenomenal for being a free upgrade, and to have a little co-op in there, that was great. When they announced Legends mode, I was like, how are they going to do it? And when they did it, they fucking did it, man. They knocked that out of the park. But let me know down in the comments below any other franchises that you really just saw, mainly as a single player franchise, and then the multiplayer, you would have thought that the multiplayer just would have been something tacked on that no one would have played, and you played it and you're like, this is great. This is phenomenal. But I feel like RE5 and 6 are definitely like that. The multiplayer doesn't fit, and RE5 was definitely tacked on. RE6 was at least a little more thought out, I feel like, but still is something that was tacked on. And then lastly, we have a game. This has been this big secret game that I've been talking about doing with Brian and Andrew, which we're going to get through at some point. But that being Marvel's Avengers. Now, at the moment with this game, I just started it today. All I'm doing is playing through the single player, which are basically these trophies here, from Golden Ticket down to New Girl Makes Good, with a few, random trophies in between, I think. So that's going to be fun. But I think that there's a whole co-op side to this game that I need to do a little more research. I really haven't done any research into this game other than deciding to buy it, which I think was the hardest decision to make. But I have to say, from playing it, I did watch and listen to a few things before going into it. Hearing people talk about how bad the game plays and everything like that. And I have to say, from the maybe hour or two that I've played it, I don't necessarily agree with what everyone is saying when it comes to how the game physically feels. Now, granted, when I did load into the game and I was in the main menu, I was looking at it and I was like, this looks like mud. But once I actually got into the game, it did look, significantly better than the main menu, which I don't even know how that's possible. But then everybody, a lot of people that I heard and talked to were saying like, oh, all the characters feel like, they feel like too solid, too grounded. Um, I kind of have to like disagree with that. Yes, they do feel grounded, which by the way is a great feeling to have in a game because you don't want to feel like you're kind of floating all over the place. A game that does this and it's kind of I wouldn't say it's irritating, but you definitely notice it when you play it. And if you haven't, you're gonna notice it if you play it again. Is the first Infamous game. That game, Cole really, he moves around. Granted, his moves are not, fast or anything, but when he's moving, he has no weight to his like running and everything. He kind of feels like he's running on air. Where they did fix this in Infamous too. But this game, the characters definitely feel grounded, and they don't feel grounded to the point of it being like unrealistic. Especially like I heard that the flying mechanics for Iron Man were like awful. Now, again, I did only do the introduction to the game, so maybe something else will happen, but I really didn't have any issues with Iron Man's flying, mechanics, or even like when you fight as him with his hovering mechanics and everything. I didn't really see anything wrong with them. Now, I have heard that the game is a grind to get things done. If that's the case and that's all we're going to complain about, I've done worse. So I'm not going to be complaining if it's a little bit of a grind. But from what I've played so far, the game plays okay. Now, granted, I keep saying granted a lot. Let me stop. Maybe when the game came out, it felt different and it's been updated since then. I'm not sure if that's the case, but from what I've played so far, I'm not really having an issue with it. I'm actually kind of enjoying it. So, I'm going to keep playing the game. We're going to go for the platinum. And then after finishing this up, I will be going back to the rotation of Hitman and Star Wars, which the next game will be Hitman 2016. So that actually gets us into the next part. So that's what I've been playing this week. What do I plan on playing in the upcoming week? So again, I am going to be focusing all my time into Marvel's Avengers. I'm assuming that I'm not going to have this platinumed by the next trophy talk. I could, but I'm assuming I'm not. If I do, the game after Marvel's Avengers will be Hitman 2016. So I'm really looking forward to playing that game. And then throughout the week, I am going to try to work on getting some other things done, mainly working on RE6 when possible. Possibly trying to finish up Enemy Front. I think we're about halfway through the XP on Enemy Front. So if we can do a solid night to 2 nights of Enemy Front, we can get that knocked out and get that done. And then I'm not really sure. There's a few multiplayer games that I want to do with cats. I want to get into a few other things like Car X Drift Racing online and try to get that done. Bring the other PS3 out and work on Grid Auto Sport and a few other games. But all in all, I'm kind of just playing what I feel like playing at the moment, which I feel like anybody should do. I want to note that, these videos may come off as like I kind of organize the way that I play my games and that's what I do, but really I don't. I kind of just play what I feel like playing. Now, I'm not sure if I've ever discussed this on the Trophy Talk per se, but the main reason behind me starting the whole franchise rotation thing, whether you're doing 2 franchises, 3 franchises, 4 franchises, the whole reason why I wanted to start this was I thought it really helped people, or it could help people with organizing their thoughts on the games that they wanted to play. Because I know that a lot of people or a lot of trophy hunters have a lot of games to play. And a lot of us, well, we are completionists. That's why you get into trophy hunting. And part of being a completionist is you want to finish the franchise as well. So not only do you want to finish and get the platinum in a game, you also want to finish a franchise. So with the franchise rotation, it forces you to kind of play the franchise, but you're rotating off of other franchises. So you're not just playing things back to back. So you don't get that burnout as well. The other thing that it really helps with is kind of mitigating what your next game is going to be, or the thought of what your next game is going to be. Because I'm not sure about you guys, but a lot of the times when I finish a game and I get a platinum, I kind of get into this thought, or I kind of get into this area of almost like I have so much, like I have so many games I can pick from, like what's next? Where do I even, start? I mean, that's that's the hardest thing that I think people come up with, is just trying to figure out the next game to play when you have so many games to play, especially being like a game collector. There's so many games that you can play when it comes down to it. So kind of deciding what your next game is going to be can also be kind of difficult, I feel like. So with doing the franchise rotation, it kind of eliminates that, because if you know that you're going to be playing Call of Duty and Spider-Man games, when I finish Call of Duty, I'm going to go and I'm going to be playing a Spider-Man game next. I already know that. And when I finish a Spider-Man game, I know I'm going to be going back to a Call of Duty game. So you don't have to actually think about what your next game is going to be, because you already know what it's going to be. And you're hopefully not getting the franchise burnout, because you're adding the franchises in between, franchises that you pick. And then you're able to complete games, get franchises done, and make progress and all of that. So that's why I really enjoy the franchise rotation that I kind of use, because it really makes you not think about what your next game is going to be. It was like when I finished Star Wars Jedi Knight Jedi Academy, I knew that the next game that I was going to do in my franchise rotation was going to be Hitman 2016, and I'm really looking forward to it. But there was a few other things that I wanted to finish as well. Plus, the franchises that I've been doing haven't been racing related, so I wanted to add a racing game in there, because I feel like I was going through a little bit of a drought from playing a racing game. And then I also wanted to add this big secret stinker, Marvel's Avengers, in there at some point, because it's a newer game. I've had a few friends ask to play it, so I was like, you know what, we'll give it a try and we'll play it and we'll get it done, and it can be kind of like an in-between game. So that's why I really enjoy the franchise rotation, because it kind of keeps your head off of thinking about what your next game is going to be. Hopefully tries to eliminate burnout, and you can keep moving and grooving, getting games done, and it kind of helps you choose what games you're going to play. Now, the hardest thing can be choosing the franchise that you're going to do, but that's a whole different ball game that we can get into a whole different day. So again, upcoming in the next week, sorry for that little side rant, upcoming in the next week is going to be mainly Marvel's Avengers, trying to finish up RE6, Enemy Front, maybe adding some random PS3 games or something in there, maybe GTA 5, because I've been talking about doing that with Cats and Captain at some point. And then the single player game after Marvel's Avengers will be Hitman 2016. So that's going to be a bunch of fun. If you want to follow me on Twitch, I do live stream a few times a week over there. I don't really have a schedule, which I should probably try to make one and stick to it. I don't have a schedule, but I do, again, try to stream over there a few times a week. I play all of these games that I'm talking about, mainly the single player games like Marvel's Avengers or whatever I'm playing at the time. So if you want to go follow me, there's a link for that down in the description below. There's also a link to my Twitter, my Discord, a podcast that I started with a few buddies. So if you want to go check any of that stuff there, any of that out, there will be links to all of that down in the description below. Again, go ahead and check out Rep Sports and get any pre or post workout supplements that you need, or energy supplements if you need some help staying up to do some trophy hunting. You can go over there and check out any of that stuff. They have some great flavors. Again, 0 sugars. So it's really not bad for you, and it's going to keep you awake, and they are phenomenal. Remember to use code Snickel or coupon code Snickel at checkout to get your 15% off discount. Let me know down in the comments below any games that you guys have been playing, any games you plan on playing, what you're looking forward to, anything like that. Greatly appreciated. The trophy talks are back. I saw that everyone really appreciates that. I am back. Again, if you did enjoy the video, be sure to leave a like. If you've made it this far and you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing for more trophy content like this. Oh, before I leave, if there are any topics that you guys want me to discuss, any random trophy topics or anything, you can also leave those down in the comments below. I will tack those on at the end of the trophy talks to kind of just talk about them. So if there's anything that you want me to talk about, leave that down in the comments below as well. Anyway, like I said, if you've made it this far and you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing for more trophy content like this, and I hope to see you all around sometime soon.